Hello and welcome to another anime lore and theory video. I'm Shergok, your host, and today we are going to take a closer look at why the Yandere Simulator was so successful. But before we're going to take a closer look at any of this, let me quickly thank my Patreons for supporting this channel, as well as say thanks to all users of the YouTube thanks function for making one-time donations. And with that said, let's get to the topic at hand. Yandere Simulator was and still is a game for the PC that is still in development, and it was created by a guy known under the name Yandere Dev. And almost everything that could be said about him and his game has already been said. That it was a success, that many big Let's Players played it years ago despite it never officially having been released, that Yandere Dev is a rather strange person in private, and of course that he has taken the YouTuber route from sister leveling and messaged a girl under the age. But what hasn't really been explained is why Yandere Simulator was so successful in the first place, and why people actually liked it, because normally there isn't so much support for people who publish content that some would describe as fringe and a bit more than just a bit weird. And it's quite rare for people to post unironic content about murder and manslaughter due to unrequited laugh while portraying anime and manga in an extremely one-sided cliché way, without causing a massive controversy and backlash, but instead just a hype. True crime podcasts and fanfictions aside. And I think the reason why Yandere Simulator was so successful, despite featuring a cliché protagonist who mistakes other girls at her school for knife blocks just to get together with her true love, is simple. The overwhelming majority of the anime community, and the YouTube community for that matter, perceive this game as something that came from within their own community. Unlike the violent video game debate, which is a wonderful neutral term to say the absolute least about it, the jokes and the perceived criticism didn't come from people who clearly had no clue about the subject matter. Instead, it was seen as something from someone from the anime and the YouTube community that ironically and satirically engaged with the common anime clichés, like the Yandere archetype, the typical high school setting, and various other tropes seen in almost every anime, and it was presented and perceived to be as being conceptualized in a humorous way. And the whole thing came across more like an abridged series turned into a video game where you knew that the creator were fans of the series and that the jokes, even if they hit hard, weren't meant to be taken seriously, but were just there for fun. And many modern abridged series carry the same sense of self-irony. I mean, take Sister Leveling for example, which parodies literally every generic anime cliché by introducing them into solo leveling, that yet has to reveal the sister route or the first-person pantsu shot. I mean, compare this to the attack on Mushoku Tensei. It was completely hated on by outsiders of the anime community, because for once, the protagonist wasn't a flat, bland, blank paper self-insert, but rather a socially dysfunctional man in his 30s whose first life was ruined by trauma and self-hatred, along with his many flaws, and who has still retained the majority of these character flaws in his new life after he was reincarnated. I mean, last season he cheated on his wife and risked his entire marriage just to get together with his former teacher, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. But just because you watch Mushoku Tensei doesn't mean you automatically agree with everything that this clearly flawed protagonist does. I mean, just like listening to true crime podcasts doesn't mean you approve of murder. And this critique from the outside and the defense from the people who actually watch the anime, this created a huge controversy about it. But here's the thing. Solo Leveling Abridged does basically the same thing. It introduces again every single possible cliché into the anime, which is three of these more weird aspects of anime, at least until this point. but it is perceived as something that comes from inside of the community, as something that people who love the anime have created. So instead of being seen as an attack on the anime, it is seen as something fun and creative. And in my opinion, that's exactly how Yandere Simulator was perceived, as a game that humorously exaggerated the cliché of a completely insane, obsessively in love yandere girl who eliminates every rival for her senpai's affection, while parodying common anime tropes in the video game. A passion project from an anime fan for other anime fans. And because people thought that most of the aspects that the game, most of the more explicit aspects that the game portrays were seen and presented as ironic. And because many people thought that a lot of the game content was just ironic, many had no hesitation about engaging with it. And the fact that the guy behind the game actually thinks this way, that he has hit on women below the level of 18, that he has been unable to finish his game for 10 years. I mean, we are getting GTA 6 before he finished Yandere Simulator. His many extremely questionable statements in streams, such as fantasizing about a farm where women are bred and kept like livestock. Like, this is too close to Demiurge's Happy Farm from Overlord in a sadly serious way. And that much of the things that were shown in the game weren't actually ironic, but a more or less sincere expression of the Yandere devs' feelings and worldview. This was something that most fans overlooked, or rather recontextualized it as ironic and just as a joke. And that much of what was shown in the video game wasn't actually meant to be ironic, was just overlooked by fans, because all of the later scandals about Yandere Dev weren't known at that very time. They came to light gradually. And that's why hardly anyone hesitated to engage with this game, assuming it wasn't meant to be taken seriously. I mean, imagine if Sister Loving was published unironically as a novel series, it would be seen as something entirely different. I mean, can you imagine some, let's say, Twilight fanfiction that were slightly just rewritten and re-edited and then taken completely serious by millions of people that actually find this, you know what, never mind. Alright, so that's why Yandere Simulator was so popular and why people were so hyped about it, and now it's your turn. Do you think Yandere Simulator would have blown up the same way if all of these scandals surrounding Yandere Dev had been known earlier, or do you think the game could have stood on its own? Even though much of it wasn't actually meant to be ironic, and even though the game isn't finished and will probably never be finished. And with that said, please check out my German channel, and if you don't want to listen to my voice or accent but are still interested in the things I have to say, I have made an AI channel narrated by almost a woman, where I use AI voiceovers for my video, and the channels are all linked down in the video description. Also please check out my Patreon if you want to support me beyond just leaving a like or sub, and with that said I say thank you very much for watching, thanks to my Patreons for supporting this channel, and as usual, I say my special thanks to Ada Daddy Ada, ASK, Bad Guy Yee, Bad Burrito 316, Beezer, Ben C, Brandon S, Brandon D, Chrissy, Crowley 0221, Sia, Crystal Prime, Dead Slime, Death is Mercy, Deathless Dragonlord, Demon Xenomorph 1987, Devin Downen, Ding Dong, Din Pep, Dragonlord Placido Saxophone, Duckwagon, Dunkler Krieger, Dystopia, Dystopia II, Enigmatic Unicorn, Feral Shivan, Guy with That Head, Hector Marino, Hoss, Huster, Jacob G, Jana B, Jason, J. Morris, Chromius, Kyle R, Lee K. Long, Legendarius, Lelouch Britannia with a Mustache, Lexus Fox, Lord Nishikian Rai, Lord Touch Me, Lovefraser, Merovec, Mr. Shoes, Mr. Tweaker, Michael R, Michael Y, Nope, Oh hell no, Normal Toad, Kill, Overlord General Gaspar, Paddy Pentum, Personage, Ruru, Primus 11, Rhinomere, Q&A Caracos P, Shergox's Daddy, Shadow Lightning Wolf, Shrine Keeper, Sir Axolotl, Super Tier Magic Batista Bomb, Supreme Cheese, Staris, Ted, Texas Deer, The Orc Warboss, Rocket Smasher, T.E. Vang, Vash Hawkeye, Vegito27, Venture Fanatic, Wilhelm, Xenokai, and Sonagon. Thanks guys. Anyway, have a nice day, and I hope to see you all again soon on my next video.